GM, just a quick one before we get going. So, as you know, the Blocmates podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Certainly shouldn't be considered as financial advice. We have absolutely no idea what we're talking about half the time. So, any investment decision you do make should be based on your own research and your understanding of the risks involved. One more thing as well, there's around 50% of people who listen regularly who aren't subscribed yet. So, if you please could just do us a favor and hit the subscribe or the follow button or the like button, helps content grow, helps us grow, helps it reach more people like yourselves, and it means the world to us as well. So that's the last I'll ask of you. So yeah, let's get to the episode.
Okay, so we are back. Welcome to the Blocmates podcast once again. Today I'm joined with Mr. PintSwap Max from PintSwap Protocol. Max, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. How are you today?
Doing well, Dan. Thanks a lot for having me. Really looking forward to our chat.
It's an absolute pleasure. Max, love to hear a little bit more about, who you, Max. Oh, shit. Right, let's start again. I'll rug that one moment. So I'm just going to make a note to pause at 38. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We are back again for the Blocmates podcast. Today we are joined by Mr. PintSwap Max. Max, how are you, sir?
Doing well, very well. Pleasure to be here, Dan. Hope you're having a good day as well. Really looking forward to our chat here.
It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast today, Max. Max, introduce yourself. Tell the public who you are.
So let me start on how I got into the world of crypto. Basically, my journey started back in 2018, where slowly getting into it, like buying some stuff left and right, like Bitcoin, some ETH, doing some trading left and right. And the more, we were all aware of that, we was in the space for a longer time. You start, it sparks your interest, and the more you get to know about, the deeper you go into it. And basically, that has been rolling from 2018 till 2020. And in 2020, I made the decision to actually go full time. And back then it was trading. I've done some advising since then. I've done, a whole lot of shitcoining as well. And yeah, I'm also the co-founder of Library on Chain. And then, my latest endeavor is PintSwap. So yeah, that's kind of my TLDR on my background and how I got into crypto.
So you're a bit of an OG crypto head then. So what was the first coin that you actually bought way back when?
It is Nano. Well, before it was known as Rayblocks, and I remember it very well. Did I was back in Hong Kong. There was some of the guys who were into crypto. And then they were yeah, you should buy some. And this was actually before it, it pumped to the moon. So I think I bought it at $4, and then I read it quickly. I went to $6-7, and I sold. And back then it was decent size. So I was oh fuck yeah, this shit is interesting. I need to learn more about it. Back then, looking back, you didn't know shit. But yeah, I think beginner's luck. So that's where it really got started.
And then once you sold it, I think we've all had that story with some of the first coins that we sold. You make a 1 or a 2x, you sell it, and then after that, that's when it actually skyrockets. Did you have that same experience with that, or did you literally mark the top when you sold it?
Well, the thing is, I started in 2018, so basically right after the bull market, and then had full pleasure of doing the whole bear market before enjoying any bull market. So basically, that kind of story, yes, I did have it. It was with I think it was 2020. There was some coin called Prosper. It was a prediction market. I scooped it very early, did my due diligence, and then it ended up being listed on the Binance Innovation Zone. But that was after I sold. So I bought it at 30 cents, did a 2x, 3x. So it went to $1, and afterwards it went to $3 or $4. And I was well, it's a very familiar feeling, fuck, why did I sell? But yeah, money is money.
Yeah, true. And when you say due diligence, do you mean you did deep analytical research on Bloomberg? You know, you read all of the white papers, or is this like the mate sitting in next to you in the trading office be like, "Hey, Max, buy some of this for us, will ya?" And secretly he was trying to dump his bags. What was your due diligence like back in the day?
Well, my due diligence back in the day was like, so talking about 2020. It was like very like high level. It was like, okay, first of all, can I understand what they're doing? Does it make sense? Just like kind of like the standard things like team tokenomics. Like back then, tech, yeah, I had like literally no idea. I had to, yeah, very much rely on like others' expertise there. Like today, I'm not still, the technical wizard. Luckily, I have my co-founder who is. But yeah, it was more on like the business side of the project. So team, product, yeah, marketing as well. So yeah, that was like kind of my due diligence back then.
Yeah, completely different to this day and age is like what world of shitcoins. Is the contract renounced? Yes, probably okay. Did a legitimate shill it? Yes, okay, cool. Definitely gonna ape in some shekels and hope for the best. But out of pure interest, Max.
Yeah, no, like that's
So you literally came in like right after the bull market, straight into a bear market. What kept you like in crypto when that winter was? Oh, I wasn't here for it, but that winter was absolutely brutal. Like, why did you stay?
so I think the big reason why I was staying at the same time I was also exploring like finance or like I wanted to pursue like a finance career, and it was the same time I started like crypto, and I saw like a lot of like familiar similarities between the two. But in the end, like the guy was kind of my mentor and introduced me to crypto, and I've been in the space since like 2015 or something. Like I saw the amount of knowledge that he had, and how him explaining me about the potential of like the technology and what it could become. He's like a real visionary in that sense. And the more I start like learning about it, the more I was like, yeah, this really does make sense. And I think like from I'm a very curious person, and crypto, it's like very diverse, never a boring day in crypto. So I think that's the reason why I just kept going. Obviously it was like with different intensities over time. You do not start like, and during the bear obviously it's like a bit more chill, but it's, yeah, I think I just found it like very interesting, and I had like the right people around me who also stayed in the game and already were in the game for like a long time. But yeah, and then the bull market happened, and I met like a lot more people who introduced me to basically most of the people who are in my current network. And once you have like these people around you who are grinding like all the time, I think there is like no bigger motivation, yeah, than that. I think that's the way to say it for me.
Yeah, it sounds like you found like a really good crew early on. So yeah, well done for that. Before we get massively sidetracked, Max, tell me about PintSwap. What is it? How does it work? And how did you come to create this?
So let me start with like the protocol origin story. So when I was the guy I just mentioned with I met him like in 2020, and it's I was going to like Consensus, and one of his like developers he worked with for like a while, he was there as well, and that was like the first time when I actually met my current co-founder. That back then it was not about PintSwap, but I think it was like earlier this year, also when people were doing like OTC for Arbitrum, and then our mutual friend he was like, "Hey, by the way, Adrian wrote this and this," and he shared me what it was, and I looked at it, and then I was like, wait a second, what does it basically also would facilitate like an OTC trade? And then I contacted Ed, and he was like, yeah, we can do that. And I was like, well, I think there is like a pretty big market for like OTC stuff, and that's basically how things got rolling. It was first, for simply like an OTC OTC deal, and then yeah, from there on it kind of like expanded. Like you spoke with me in the early days about PintSwap, and you have seen it, like developing over time. But then, what is PintSwap? So PintSwap is a peer-to-peer order book DEX. That's what it is. And how does it work? So this is like kind of the interesting thing. Like we do not have a persistent like on-chain contract like all other projects do, or like most of them do. We work with like a transaction script. So let's say you and me are gonna do a trade then via like a peer-to-peer stream, we create like a shared key, and with that shared key, we create like a one-time use contract. So I send my funds to the contract, or it does like automatically. You send your funds to the contract, and it only execute if we both receive our funds. That's basically what it is. And after the trade is done, the contract gets destructed again. That's basically like the high level of like what we do and how it works.
Okay, and then where do you see this like fitting into the market then?
So as we already spoke about earlier, like for some reason people like to gamble, and there will always be degenerates. Like we have seen it now. Like even when there is barely like any activity, there is always a big group of people on like with that are doing like on-chain trading, shit coining, low caps, mid caps, meme coins, the whole shenanigans. And yeah, that's basically where PintSwap fits in, or at least that's like our initial target audience / target market, and from there we elaborate. So I think like after like being in like since 2018, time after time, it has been proven that yeah, the degen activities on chain will remain. So that's where we fit in.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that we can all rely. I think that's the one thing we can all rely on in crypto, is that the degenerates run the space, and when you're max bored and there's nothing to do, it is a case of like, okay, cool. So let me look at the Dex screen, the latest pairs, or Dex tools like live pairs, and have a little bit of a punt, because I've always said it, like crypto has like a heavy gambling focus, and it really is one of those things where it's like almost like sports betting on like one of these sports betting apps. But the rush that you get, I find, when it goes either way, up or down, like you sometimes just can't beat it. Obviously, like, ladies and gentlemen, we're not saying be gamblers, but if you do gambling in crypto, obviously, like, be gamble aware and stay safe. Don't lose more shekels than you can obviously use. Awesome. And then what's the long-term vision? Because I know we first spoke about PintSwap many months ago, and I remember seeing the first iteration, and since then it's already come a long way. But what's the real long vision? Like, let's say in, I don't know, this mythical bull market that's going to be coming next year and then the year after, where do you see PintSwap being?
So if we were talking about like the ideal positioning for PintSwap, we would be like an alternative liquidity layer for your low and mid caps. So as we all know, for like these activities we were just speaking about, like often at times you have like a big bag, and then yeah, you want to get rid of it, or you want to buy like a big bag of like some hot new on-chain pair. And that's basically where we want PintSwap to fit in. So it's like an alternative to like your Uniswap, your SushiSwap for your low and mid caps. We also want to be able to facilitate like the OTC deals. You still see too often, unfortunately, that if you work with like an escrow, things go wrong. At that time, we also has partnered up with like an MeV team. So via our platform, you can also use your nice shiny low caps for basically you provide liquidity to the MeV team for them to run their strategies. So this means you can also get like yield on your coins where they're otherwise useless outside of holding. And at this time, we'd also onboarded like multiple market makers for the platform. So even when the individuals are not trading, there will be activity from the market makers to take your order and provide liquidity that way. I think that's like the ultimate place we want to be. And on top of that, we would the ultimate goal would be to get integrated into the different aggregators. So whenever you're using like 1inch, Matcha, or whatever in aggregator CowSwap, that they would route via PintSwap as well. So they would tap into our liquidity, and users, basically tap into our liquidity without them even being aware of PintSwap. I think that's like our ultimate goal to get there.
Okay, now I just want to, can you elaborate more on like your MeV team and what kind of strategies they might use? Because I think a lot of the listeners, as soon as you hear like MeV or MeVBot, they're going to be thinking straight away Jared from Subway. Now I know Grant. I think we were on stream together, and he was doing some shit coining, and you could just see his face drop. And this is when we were live on a podcast, and he was just like, he's just hit me. I'm like, who's just hit you, mate? Like you're on camera, nothing's touched you. And he's like, it's Jared. I was like, no, mate, not Jared from Subway. He's like, yeah, I've just got fucking mev'd by that guy. Literally 2 minutes later, a tweet comes out from Grant. It's just like fucking like the subway man with like a banana gun pointing at him. It was so funny, mate. Absolutely so funny. So when you say like you've got a MeV team, like have you got Jared and his crew from Subway, or you know maybe it's like Melvin from KFC working behind the scenes? What's the story there?
So it's unfortunately it's not Jared, but it's one of our advisors is also involved in like a MeV project. And well, to keep it like high level, or at least the strategy we're looking at to like collaborate with them. So the reason that Jared has been like very, very successful, or at least one of the reasons, is like if you are sandwiching, and let me see if I say it correct. Normally you go from ETH to shitcoin or like meme coin to like ETH again. However, there's like a lot of competition if you do it in like in that order. But if you look at meme coin to ETH, if you sandwich that way, if you run your strategies, there is far, far less competition. And that's like kind of the issue, or like where we would come in. Like most of the MEV teams, they are not like public or front facing. So they don't want their name out there, or want to have anything to do with the community, or well, the general public. So that's where we can hop in. Like we have our single-sided vaults where we can basically source like liquidity for any coin. So what we would do then is whenever there's like an interesting pair with like volume, or like a hot new launch or something like that, we would open up. Let's take Banana for the example. There was like 10 million of volume, and that means there is also a lot of value to be extracted. So what we would do is open a pool for Banana. People can do like single-sided staking there. The guys can use that to run the meme like low cap to ETH sandwich, and in that way, like normally, why you would not want to do that is you're exposed to like the inventory risk, and as an MEV team, you don't necessarily want exposure to like some low cap or whatever. And since we like the way we set it up, like the inventory risk goes to the user, and they just run the strategy. That's like kind of how we're looking to partner up. And yeah, ideally, like we were waiting for them to roll out the strategies, but it should be like this quarter when we can start, when we can get that going.
Oh wow, that's definitely very high level. So you're going to be the good sandwich makers then.
Well, what's good or bad, right?
True. Okay, so here's a question that I've been wanting to ask you for a while. Now you mentioned you're going to be doing like small and mid caps. Now we know how risky like small and mid cap tokens can actually be. How are you going to vet these small and mid caps, or better put, what's the actual criteria going to be for the small and mid caps that you actually allow onto your platform?
So in that sense, like we are fully centralized and permissionless. So there is not like anybody can list like any coin on the platform. So yes, we cannot remove a pair or whatsoever from. It's basically the same as like Uniswap, right? Like every coin can put a liquidity on Uniswap. That's not something we are going to how can I say, like we're not gonna get in between there. So it's up to our users to do the due diligence on whatever pair is listed on PintSwap. However, if we would, for example, these single-sided vaults we're opening, yes, that would be based on our own due diligence and yeah, basically Degen experience of what's like an interesting pair to do it for, right? But it's always, yeah, in the low caps, mid caps, you never know. Like even in the high caps, you never know, right? There was always risk. So yeah, we are not gonna play like a guard, have any guard in place. It's the same like Uniswap in that sense.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Okay. Fair. Now, I know you've got like a lot of big releases coming up, from your Telegram bot to some DCA functionality, and then data and sniper bot integration. I'd love to find out more about the Telegram bot, how it works, and how you're going to be positioning in it.
So basically, the Telegram bot is an extension of our web app. So how it works is it's well like the other Telegram bots out there. It generates like a wallet for you. Then you can send funds there. It will have like limit orders, which so you basically place a limit order in the PintSwap order book. You will have like market orders. So even like if the liquidity is in our books, the trade will get executed via PintSwap. If there is not liquidity in our books, it will, like the Telegram bot or our engine will function as an aggregator. So it will route the trade, or it will execute the trade via Uniswap. And then we also have our OTC functionality. So that allows you to create or create an OTC trade or take an OTC trade. So there is like yeah, some recognizable number you can share with your counterparty, and then they can easily take the trade. And then that's like how we initially would release our Telegram bot. So same functionality as the web app. And after it, what we are looking at is adding the market maker tool. So same as you have like a market maker on a centralized exchange, you will also be able to act like an individual or whatever foundation or project will be able to act as a market maker on the PintSwap platform. And an iteration of it is, as you already just mentioned, then is the DCA bot, and this is one I'm kind of a fan of myself, and I would really love to use it. Basically, what it would do is you say like, hey, I want to start selling, from this price onwards till that price, so between $10 and $15, and it will follow the fair valuation. And fair valuation in this case would be Uniswap price. So like my idea is it would place orders below fair value and above fair value. So it continuously follows the price and place orders below and above it in a certain range. And you can do it to buy it and you can do it to sell it. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. And the next step on that would be once the price moves up and the order is still there, our trading engine will execute a trade between like Uniswap. So it will arbitrage, and yeah, that profit will be shared with the treasury and our Pint stakers.
Oh, wow. Okay, so there's quite a lot that's going into it. And then this the data and sniper bot integration. How is that going to work? Is it going to be a separate tool that you create, or are you going to be merging with other platforms?
So the idea here is to merge with like other platforms, like a lot of the like labs, or I'm not sure how it's pronounced. or like Pep Analytics now, they link to Banana, they link to Unibot, and then we want them to link to us as well. So basically in the same kind of style as all the others do. And even like the guys from Banana, Unibot, they all route via Uniswap, right? But once we have like enough liquidity in our books, it will also be interesting to route via PintSwap, as like a lot of the users of Banana, Unibot, and other bots, they use it for like low mid caps, right? Nobody's really buying rep BTC or whatever via Unibot, or at least I cannot imagine doing that, because you're paying like insane fees. So it would be like the lower mid caps, and that's exactly where we come into play, because if the liquidity can be sourced via us, people will have no taxes and no slippage. So yeah, that's the idea behind it.
Okay, so just so then I completely understand it, you'll be integrating the PintSwap tool into these other snipers, correct?
Yes, that's an option, and another we would sort of integration could do later down the line is that they simply route their orders via our order book. So then people won't even know their order goes via PintSwap. It just they stay within like Unibot or Banana or whatever other bot, and they would just execute the trade via our books.
Ah, okay. So then, yeah. So then that's okay. That makes sense now. So then that's benefiting, obviously, your guys, your liquidity pool providers, or the people who are putting like bids and asks in. But then also the guys on the other end from the other projects are getting the best price on it. Okay, cool. And which update are you most looking forward to personally? Because I know you mentioned briefly the DCA function, but with the long-term vision, what's your, what bit are you getting most excited for?
Yeah, I think it would be, well, it's like always a kind of a difficult, like a lot of people do not like the Telegram bot, so for them it would be like the web app. But from me personally, since I do, like even a lot of like my Degen activity I do on the go, and well, for the people who use Uniswap on mobile, it kind of sucks. So I'm really looking forward to, yeah, have the Telegram bot in a place where I'm personally like very happy about it. So I can, do my limit orders, I can do my market orders, I can start the DCA bot running. I can use it to, like both ways. Start DCAing into some coin, start exiting my position. Then even like the market making tool, when I'm like, okay, we're just going sideways. If I'm happy to sell part of my stack, so I will just start market making with it. So I either, end up with like less of my stack, rake in the fees. So yeah, that's like kind of what makes me most excited, having the Telegram bot in a place where, yeah, it's just like my personal Degen tool with the with a user friendly Telegram interface wherever I go.
So you can literally be slamming pints down the pub with the lads, pull out your pint swap, and then just like ape on the go. I love it. Okay, fantastic. Is there anything else that's coming up for PintSwap that you need to let the community know?
So yeah, like we're working behind the scenes on like efficiency improvements. So like one of the things that happened now is, since it's like the computational stuff while running transactions quite heavy, we're implementing something that should let it go like much smoother, which we are should be done like this week. So the people who are using PintSwap have get like a better experience, faster experience, to say more exact. Then what else? I think the onboarding to a market maker to our platform, I think that is also one of the more exciting things coming up. And the more friendly UI for our market making tool, because the current tool, yes, it can be used, but it's more for like the tech savvy users. So as soon as we have a more friendly interface where a pleb like myself can even do the market making with it, that's like something for the community to look out at as well.
Perfect. Now, Max, we're going to come on to probably like my favorite part, which is always the quick fire questions, because these are questions that you genuinely have no idea that are coming, but they're friendly, fun, and simple. Now, all I want is quick answers. So literally like the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. And if you give the wrong answer, don't worry, because somebody out there has probably said the wrong answer as well. So question number 1, what's your favorite thing about crypto?
Sorry, you fell away there. Can you repeat the question?
What's your favorite thing about crypto?
The people, the Degen activity.
What's the most confusing thing about crypto?
The technology behind it at times.
I thought you were going to say the people then as well, because they are pretty confusing as well. What's 6 times 7?
42.
Oh, mate, nice. You got that a lot quicker than I when I was writing it down. My personal favorite here, pineapples on pizza, yes or no?
No.
Good. What's your favorite video game?
Call of Duty.
Which one?
Modern Warfare 2, all-time best.
Oh, yes, agreed. Noob tubing down terminal, one man army pack on as well.
Afghan.
Absolutely love it. What was the other one? I used to do a lot of sniping on estate. That suddenly ended up becoming and high rise. Yeah, that suddenly became one of my favorite ones. What would you be doing in the real world if you had a real job?
Sorry, the connection fell again. Can you repeat the question once more?
So if you were back in the real world, what would you be doing as a job?
Something with like business development, something with people. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Nice. People smuggling. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, that is not true. That was just a quick side joke. Sorry about that, Max. What's the rarest thing you own?
It would probably be my Speedmaster, Omega.
Oh, very nice. And then one final question. Did you do it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. So did I. Max, it has been an absolute pleasure. Where can we find you and the PintSwap team?
So first of all, we're obviously on Twitter, PintSwap0x, and there you also find a link to our Discord, and otherwise PintSwap.exchange. I think those are the best 3 options, to get it, to see us, see what we have to offer.
Fantastic. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Dan Blocmates with PintSwap Max on the show. Max, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks a lot for having me, Dan. It was a pleasure being here, and I had fun doing this.
Right, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazz. We'll put all of your PintSwap stuff at the bottom. But in the meantime, happy swapping.